finance.
Oh, yes. Time for our look at Faith and Finance. Drew Blazsik is in studio from Adrian College. And, we're talking about a lot of folks are out there buying Christmas gifts and so forth and impulse purchases. So, I don't know, Drew. Is that a good idea?
Well, so we're typically talking the last couple of weeks about some encyclicals. So I thought it'd be good to kind of bring it back and talk about what's going on economically with sales and what they're trying to do. So what I wanted to bring up was something that's kind of new to things called buy now, pay later.
Buy now, pay later. Okay.
And if you notice when you go to your Amazon account, your different accounts, they'll have that option. They'll say, you can have this with a couple installments, no interest. There's no interest involved. So it sounds great. Like now we talk about interest being used. We're like, oh yeah, we can go with it. Now what happened was Amazon did a study and they tried to find out something called cart abandonment. And cart abandonment's anytime you put money into your Amazon account and you're about to purchase it and then you back out for whatever reason. Yeah. You didn't have enough money. They wanted to figure out how can they get away with it, or not get away with it, but how can they get you, the consumer, to purchase it.
Increase that percentage of things coming out of your cart.
And what they did was they developed this, not Amazon really developed it, but there's other companies that developed it. Now, first you have to break it down. This is not a credit card. Okay. There's no interest on it.
Right.
A credit card company, this is where they get away with it. There's no, when they did the Fair Credit Card Act, back in like 2010, I think it was, there's a bunch of policies against credit cards now. Now, what they did was, if you do a buy now, pay later, there's 4 payments.
Okay.
So you put a down payment today, 25%, and then you got 3 payments after that.
Okay.
So that is not considered a credit card. If you do 4 payments, so if you don't do a payment today, if you do 4 payments, that's a credit card.
Oh my goodness.
So you do a payment today.
So they came in right under it to stay out of all the regulations. Yeah.
And then you do 3 payments. And then you got companies called Klarna. You got Apple Pay that does it now. PayPal, they do it. Now here's some interesting stats about buy now, pay later. 4 in 10 Americans by LendingTree, they did a survey, said they were late on a payment. 4 in 10 Americans. 23% of them regret their decision by doing this.
Right.
So they went in pretty
So you're saying 4 in 10 Americans are saying they're late on this kind of payment?
3 payments. That's all it is. Without not including the down payment, 3 payments are late. People that are making under $75,000 a year are about 72% of purchases. And then people that are making over $75,000 is only about 18.
Oh my God!
So the majority are people that
vulnerable people who are living on the edge. Yeah.
Credit card debt has hit over $1.034 trillion going on now.
Trillion. Wow.
And this is not included because this is not a credit card. So they found a way. 1.034 trillion.
Wow. Over $1 trillion.
A credit card. People max out. It's the highest it's ever been in the history. The savings rate in the United States is the lowest it's been in I don't know how many decades as a percentage of how much we make.
And retailers are cheering, right?
Oh, retailers love it.
Yeah.
These companies love it. And how it works is Klarna and PayPal, they receive 2 to 8% from the actual purchase from Amazon. That's how they make their money. And just a couple notes to the consumer. There's no interest, but if you do not make a payment on time, they will charge you interest on the whole thing.
Oh,
and it's up to 30% interest. So you don't know that until you don't make a payment.
Right.
30% interest. It goes on your credit collections. And then what Apple can do, and this is the tricky thing, Apple's gonna be very successful. They can shut down your iPhone if you.
Oh my!
PayPal could stop you from going to do eBay because PayPal is the big one in eBay. So the companies that are tied to our everyday lives, and if you don't make that payment on time and you can't make it,
shut down other platforms and other options.
30%, man.
30%. Here's another interesting thing. Black Friday came around. It was up 40% this Black Friday from last.
What?
And 50% of people admitted that when they had a purchase of $500 or more, they backed out. They postponed it.
Yeah.
But they purchased it this time because now they had that option.
Oh my goodness.
So these are people that don't have money that can't do it.
Black Friday was up 40%
from a previous year, 40% of Black Friday.
For Amazon and all that? Oh, the buy now, pay later, up 40%.
Yeah. And it's estimated a $4 trillion thing that's going to hit in 2030.
Ooh.
That's how big it's going to be. Right now it's about $18 billion.
I mean, this is not much different than the the folks who go to get a payday loans and that kind of thing. I mean, you're going in, it's an exorbitant interest rate that you're paying, but you're doing it because you're in a vulnerable place at that point. You do it, and then they smack you later.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of creative ways that they came up with.
Still getting around.
Consumers have to figure out, they have to say, let's purchase something if we have the money. Let's build the virtue that I worked for it, I have the money, let's buy it. Now, this is people that we don't have the money. It looks good, I'm going to purchase it because they give you that option.
I'll probably have the money by then.
And here's the thing. I mean, we have built a culture around Christmas, an expectation around Christmas that people think they're getting big stuff. I mean, it's like, we don't just buy presents anymore. We buy gigantic presents for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we don't mind going in debt to do it.
And here's two great quotes I want to end this with. A quote is, if you think nobody cares if you're alive, try missing a couple of car payments.
Yeah, right.
Quote number one. Quote number two, Andrew Jackson said, when you get into debt, you become a slave.
Oh, amen.
Oh, yeah.
If you can't do that, you're not a good father. You become more irritated. You become more angry if you're in debt. So it's good to stay away from this stuff. But it's a very creative way of these companies.
Yeah, and look, there's a reason they're looking for these ways around the regulations, because the regulations make it somewhat reasonable, but they're finding ways to go even over and above those things.
Yes.
Or under them, I should say.
So don't take the bait.
Yeah.
Don't take the bait.
Yeah, I'm sure people will be very satisfied with what you could give them this Christmas. You don't need to go out and get into debt over it.
Yeah.
This year I want to finance it, but I want to buy an actual white elephant.
Well, now, look, there's an exception to financing an elephant.
I guess so.
I think.
Drew, thank you for your wisdom.
Hey, thanks, Andrew.
We appreciate that. That's startling stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Morning offering continuing momentarily here on Annunciation Radio.